Jim Thorpe by Sarah Karchner Clark. To say that Jim Thorpe is a great athlete is a huge understatement.
Jim Thorpe is the greatest athlete of the 20th century. And some say he's the greatest athlete of all time.
Even royalty has declared him the greatest.
That's right. King Gustav V of Sweden told Jim Thorpe, "Sir, you are the greatest athlete in the world."
It's quite a compliment. So, who was Jim Thorpe?
Jim Thorpe was born James Francis Thorpe in a one-room cabin in Oklahoma.
He was born on May 28, 1887.
Jim was part French and part Irish, but he was mostly of Sac and Fox Indian heritage.
He was from the Thunder Clan.
Jim was born to Hiram and Charlotte Thorpe.
Jim was born a twin, but his twin brother Charlie died of pneumonia when Jim was 9 years old.
Jim's Indian name was Lathuk, which means bright path, the perfect name for Jim. He definitely had a bright future ahead of him.
Jim was an amazing athlete because he competed so well in so many sports.
Jim began his athletic career in 1907 at Carlisle Indian Industrial School at Carlisle, Pennsylvania.
At Carlisle, Jim competed in many different sports: track and field, football, baseball, lacrosse, and even ballroom dancing.
In 1913, Jim led Carlisle's football team to the National Collegiate Football Championship, scoring 25 touchdowns and 198 points in one season.
Jim participated in the Summer Olympics in Stockholm, Sweden. He represented the United States, even though he didn't become a United States citizen until 1919.
At the Olympic Games, Jim won the gold medal both the pentathlon and the decathlon events.
He returned home with approximately $50,000 worth of trophies. He was honored with the ticker tape parade on Broadway in New York City.
A month after the Olympic Games, the amateur union filed charges against Thorpe.
They said that he had played summer baseball with the Rocky Mountain Club for money, which discredited him as his amateur state.
Jim played for a small amount of money, so he was stripped of his medals and trophies.
From there, Jim played Major League Baseball for 6 years.
Jim played baseball with the New York Giants, the Cincinnati Reds, and later with Boston Bruins.
His best season in baseball was his last.
He batted .327 in 60 games for the Boston Braves.
Jim Thorpe also played professional football and helped the Canton Bulldogs win the World Championships in 1916, 1917, and 1919.
The Bulldogs were one of the 4 teams that made up the American Professional Football Association, which later became the National Football League, NFL.
Jim was elected the APFA's first president, but continued to play football and coach for the Canton Bulldogs.
He played professional football for 6 different teams between 1920 and 1928. When he retired at age 41, Jim had played a total of 52 NFL games.
After retiring from professional sports, Thorpe became an alcoholic and struggled to support his wife and 4 children.
He found it difficult to work outside of sports and couldn't hold down a job for very long. He worked as a construction worker, a bouncer, and a movie extra, playing in Indian and Western movies.
Jim also briefly joined the Merchant Marine in 1945.
When people discovered that Thorpe was a dispute, organizations across the country raised thousands of dollars to help him. In 1915, Jim Thorpe was voted the greatest athlete of the half-century.
Jim lived to see great things in his life, including a feature film made about himself, Jim Thorpe, All-American. Jim died of a heart attack in 1953 at the age of 65, but his memory and legend lived on.
He was the only American athlete to excel as an amateur and professional in 3 major sports: track and field, football, and baseball.
Soon after his death, a town renamed itself Jim Thorpe, Pennsylvania.
In 1963, Jim Thorpe was inducted into the Pro Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio.
A statue of Jim stands in the rotunda at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The inscription on the statue reads,
Jim Thorpe was named First Team Walter Camp All-American in 1911 and 1912.
He won gold medals in the decathlon and pentathlon in the 1912 Olympics.
Played professional baseball in 1920 and
was elected the first president of what became the National Football League.
He was the first great performer of that league. Its highest player, both the precursor and the prototype of the weapons of modern football.